Hey everybody, welcome back to a video. I'm Mike B. Today we're going to be going through a little kind of tour of my helmet collection. This is going to be about 95% of the helmets that I like to display. They're all going to be original. I don't think I have any repros up here. I've got a bunch of other helmets that I choose not to display that I just kind of have for repro purposes. And I want to keep my collection as original as possible. Some of these are going to be displayed with covers. Some of them aren't. Again, I made a video on that. It's like your personal preference. And then some of them, like say the East German M70 or M56 76, I don't have an original M56, so I put it in the 56 spot. These kind of go in chronological order as best as I could. So if you see something like that where it's actually a 56 76, it's going to be in the 56 spot because I don't have both examples. If I do have both examples, they'll be dated accordingly. So anyway, I started out on this little wall. I have a wall-mounted kind of brackets that I made out of this pipe and some fixtures. You can get these at any hardware store and have them cut the pipe and thread it, and it's really easy. For some of these more delicate ones, I think I put, so it's on a piece of wood and it's got a paper towel separating it so it kind of pads it. I'd recommend that if you're going to do something. A felt, plush cover would be ideal. But anyway, we're just going to go through. This is going to be my collection, or most of it. And I'm just going to kind of show you what I have displayed. So we're going to start out, I have the trilogy on this wall, right? I've got the original 3 designs from the First World War that basically every helmet thereafter was designed off of. So up here we've got the French model 1915 Adrian helmet with the artillery badge. It's also in size 60, so it's my size, got the original liner in it and everything. A lot of these helmets I've made videos on, so I'm not going to go through all the liners and stuff because it's a pain in the ass to take them all off and then put them back on. So I got that starting our thing. Then move on to the German 1916. Yeah, those pads they're pretty rotten. So I don't care too much about them. The liner's not in great shape. I tried to keep them up, but they just wouldn't stay up. So this is wood on steel, so there's no padding. Anyway, so this is the 1916 German helmet that I have not restored. That I'm just going to leave original size 64 shell. And then we've got my unissued 1917 US Kelly helmet, and or no, this isn't the Kelly helmet, Jesus. Kelly helmet's the 1917 A1. Never mind. All right, disregard that totally. I know my helmets, trust me. Just kind of had a faux pas there. Anyway, this is the 1917 helmet. It's the unissued one. You can check out the video on there. So I've got that as kind of a tribute to the first 3, like the great-grandparents of every single modern American helmet, or modern helmet. I gotta slow my frickin' train down, my roll. I'm getting too excited. I wanted to do this video for a while. I've had a lot of requests for it, and I finally got these shelves up, finally got these all organized, and got every helmet, well, mostly every helmet that I wanted displayed done. So now we're gonna take a little walk over here. Oh, I do have one repro up here, but it's actually just so I don't lose it. It's a placeholder. So I've got my repro German Pickelhaube, right, the 1915 version with the nice the helmet cover on it with the regimental numbers. I'll be doing some videos on that, trust me. Then this is the top shelf, by the way. Then we got the 1916 that I restored. We got the 1916 Italian Adrian helmet, the 1917 Austro-Hungarian helmet, the M17 Finnish, or at that time Russian Zollberg helmet, which is actually a pretty sweet video. I got that from Devin K a while back on a trade deal. A 1917 German Stahlhelm, and then I've got an original Prussian buckle there, kind of a little cool display thing. A Swiss model 1918 helmet that kind of got reconfigured. It's got the original guy's name in it and everything, and the handmade netting. I've never seen that, so I had to keep that one for myself. Then we move on to the Swedish model 18/21B, which I did a video on. This is kind of their first go at a steel helmet, and it's got that nice, brazed on national cockade, which is pretty cool. And then we got the Swedish model 29, right? This is the original with the 3 pads. I can lift this one up for you. Yep, it's got the nice 3 pads in there, pretty sweet example. And then we move on to the Czechoslovakian M1930 or VZ30 helmet. This one's an original shape. It's originally painted that kind of brownish khaki or whatever. And then we've got another one, a VZ30, that was used in the Spanish Civil War. You can tell by the holes right there and the color it was painted. Pretty sweet. That's the original paint, and that's used in the Spanish Civil War. That one's also got a good liner on it. Then we move on to the German model 1935 helmet, the double decal hair helmet, which is a really sweet example. I'm really proud of this one. I like this one a lot. And then the original Coastal Artillery hair belt buckle that I got for being honest to somebody a while back. So he was trying to rip him off on a German visor cap their father had brought back from the Second World War, and I was like, nah, it's worth way more than that. And he found out it was, and he's like, hey, thanks for not trying to screw me and all that stuff. And he's like, what's your address? And he ended up sending me that. So cool little story behind that. Then we've got the Bulgarian 1936 Model A. Now this is an original World War II configuration, as you can see in the other video. I can't lift it up that far. It's being held in place. The Model B here as well is an original World War II configuration. You can see that liner and the chin strap. Really cool examples, and they actually fit. They both fit me, which is why I kept them. All the rest of them that I've gotten that have been original, I've had to sell because they're a little bit too small for my giant melon. Then we've got the original Swedish Model 37 with the 3 leather pads in there. Pretty sweet helmets. I want to do a ballistic test on one of those, but I'll probably shoot one of the later modifications. And then we've got the M38 Dutch KNIL East Indies Troops helmet that was captured by the Germans with an M31 liner in there. I forgot the designation they used. Repainted kind of the Dunkelgrau and was used in like rear echelon third line troops and just kind of stored away. This one actually looks like it was used. It's missing the chin strap, but yeah, if you haven't seen the video on that, I made one a while back. It's pretty interesting. All right, now we go down the row again. We've got an original World War II configuration Romanian M39 sitting here. Try to get the, it's not gonna, anyway, yeah, I made a video on that. I love this helmet. It's one of the coolest designs. It's actually, this one was probably made in Romania because it doesn't have the crest on it, so it's probably made in like 41 or something like that. And then we got the Spanish model 1940 or Spanish model Z. Nobody knows if it's a 40 or a 42, so I just say it's a 40. But anyway, so this has got a reproduction badge on it, but the whole helmet's original. It doesn't have the later liner. It's got the original 3 pads, if you can see that. Sorry guys, it's the lighting's not the best, but I don't know what else to do right now. It's kind of a cloudy, shitty day out. And then we've got this rare guy, the Portuguese M40. This is really hard to find. I love that one. Then we've got the Swiss model 1918 40 with the reversible splinter tongue cover on it. And then we've got the SSH 40, right? This one's dated 1948, I believe. Yep, you can see that right there, hopefully, maybe. Yep, 1948. That's a pretty early one. This is why I kept it. And I decided to sell my bigger P3 in lieu of that, because that's exactly what a World War II configuration SSH 40 would have looked like. So then we got the M1, which is dated to around 1941. And the German M42 single decal Luftwaffe. British P1944 Mark IV turtle shell with net. And then we move on to the WZ50, the Polish WZ50. Really sweet piece. It's unissued, which is really nice, and it actually fits me. French model 1951. It's actually in pretty good shape. I can't lift that one up, it's locked in place too. And then the Czechoslovakian. Now, a lot of people think this is a VZ53. It's actually, I've seen them dated 52, so I'm gonna call it a VZ52. Helmet with the hood camouflage cover on it, which was documented as having been done by Czechoslovak troops because they saw, I think they saw the East Germans do it or something, and they were like, hey, you gotta make do with what you got in the field. It reduces the shine on the finish of the VZ52 helmet. All right, there we go. And so that's why I put that on there. It's kind of cool. I love that pattern as well. Now we've got the Finnish model 40/55 going on here in size 66. A little bit snug for me, but it's better. I haven't found one any bigger, so that's the one I kept for my collection. And then we've got the East German M56. This is the M56-76 I was telling you about, but since I don't have an original 56, I'm going to put that in the spot with also the same kind of hood camouflage. The hood for the parka that they ended up tucking in and using as a camouflage cover. Pretty cool, field expedient. Norwegian M1958 with scrim and net, like I've seen many originals. That's how they camouflage them. That's also a cool video. You should go back and check that out in my Helmets of the World series, which I got to start adding to again because I get some more acquisitions. This is an Austrian M1958, and oh come on, baby, yeah, it's just basically got a World War II American style liner that's like gray. It's got the Riddell style liner. There, hold on, I just got to show you that because I don't know if I've done a video on this. They're actually pretty hard to find because most of them got updated to the. Oh come on! All right, I'll take care of that later. Most of them got updated to the 1975 version. Yugoslavian 1959 with original graffiti, which is also a sweet piece that I like. All right, back down the row. SSH 40/60, which Devin K and I have come to the conclusion that this is actually their SSH 40 that was designed for airborne troops. That's why they put that East German style chin strap on there. I don't know why, it's uncomfortable as hell and it snags on your neck, but that's the conclusion that myself and him and a bunch of other collectors actually came to, is that's what it was for, because we've seen pictures of Soviet paratroopers actually using those in the 60s. Got the Finnish M62, which is essentially a Swedish M37 painted green. And it's got the 65 style liner in it, which is what they had. West German M62, this is a 6285, but since I don't have an original 62, that's where it's going to go. Swedish M62 or M37 62. It's got the leather chin strap, and the 62 version had that, and then the 65 had the canvas, which, you know, they're the same style kind of M1 liner, which I believe they were refitted in Germany. But anyway, so there's a 62, 65. Now I've got a really cool one, an M29 65. Yeah, it's an M29 shell, and it's got the 65 style liner. I guess they didn't really want to waste anything, and I don't think it's a terrible design for a helmet. So I got the Portuguese M40 63. This has been restored by a guy I used to sell these shells to on eBay many years ago. He said if I sent him a couple free shells, which I did at the time, that he'd totally redo a helmet for me, and he did that. They did that when they started going into Africa in the 1960s because the leather liner would start rotting, so they put an M1 style liner in there. You got my good old, 1960s Vietnam era M1. And we've got the Israeli, I would call this the 1966 version. That's about when they start popping up M1 clone. A lot of US components, but they made their own stuff and they made their own shells. Liners, a lot of US ones. The WZ67. So it's got that nice original liner in there. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have a decal, but it's in size 59 or 60, so it fits me. SSH 68. I have too many freaking helmets. Actually, I don't have enough. That's probably my actual problem. Now we've got the Model 70. This one is really cool. I got this years ago. This thing is beat to shit. This Hungarian Model 1970. The paint is just chipped off. That's kind of why I liked it. And then I looked at it, and yeah, it's got a letter. I haven't opened it. I'm not going to open it, but it's got a letter written home from the guy, stuffed in there for safekeeping, I guess. If it was a humid day, you'd probably do more harm than good, but I think that's still really cool to find something like that. So that's one of the ones I kept for my personal collection. Swiss Model 1971 with Alpenflage cover. Romanian Model 73 Airborne, which is more like a crash helmet, but it's still steel, so that's interesting. Austrian M1975 with camouflage net. Israeli M56 Orlite ballistic combat helmet. French F1 from 1978. Iraqi M90 made in South Korea out of fiberglass. This one is in mint condition and is fantastic. Got that from a fellow collector a few years ago in a trade. Romanian M7380, that's the exception I made to that. I don't have two rules, so I put this one in 1980 instead of 73. Chinese GK80, also in mint condition. Beautiful helmet, beautiful helmet. And then we move on to some of the composite stuff. We already did the Israeli, but the British Mark 6. I kept this one because I thought the graffiti was pretty cool. It's got a yin yang, a peace symbol. Somebody watched Full Metal Jacket a little bit too much, but I guess this guy liked to do graffiti, and then whatever. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I like individualized pieces like that, so decided to keep that one for myself. We got a nice minty M5985 with a camouflage cover on it, Serbian or Yugoslavian. A 1988 or 1984 Pasget, depending on what your kind of years of nomenclature are. I just call it an 88 because that's what everybody else calls it, and it's a lot easier to talk about it, and then they don't think I'm talking about some weird experimental helmet. The Model 89 South African Kevlar helmet or composite helmet, I don't know what it's made out of, with the riot lug things for the riot shield. And we've got the Schubert B826. This is a Belgian one, and then this is a Dutch one. And I date those to about 1988, so that's why they're down here. Now we've got the Iraqi M90, my first version. That's actually still retaining the rubber rim, and for good reason, because they were made like shit. But this is a nice used example. I think I got this from a fellow collector as well. Or one of these. I don't know, I got one at an auction. I got one from a good friend of mine, reenacting friend. Hungarian M90. These are actually fairly hard to find. The difference between these and the 70s is that this has got a matte paint on it, and it's not super obnoxiously slippery because I realize that stuff is pretty pointless. This one's actually dated 1989, which is really interesting. So I don't know if I should start calling this the 89 or the 90. It's commonly referred to as the 90, but I don't know. I've got a Veplas Model 91 without the rubber rim on it, but this is a Slovenian design that's actually been used all over the world. Iraq bought a bunch of these, and I managed to get this one for fairly cheap because the rim was missing, but it does have the camouflage cover. This is the first gen So this is the early 90s. It's a pretty lightweight helmet. I'll do a video on this. I don't think I've done one yet on the Helmets of the World channel. Pretty sweet camo cover. Then we've got the Veplas, again Slovenian design and produced for Slovakia. ASR 97 helmet, and that's the ASR or something 91. So this is 6 years after the original Slovenian design. That's a pretty sweet one. These are commonly sold as Czech helmets, and they're actually not. That's not the Czech coat of arms. That's the Slovak coat of arms. And I forgot my WZ93. I don't know where the hell it is. I misplaced it in the move, but I do have one of those, a Polish WZ93. So then we're going to move on to the Polish WZ2000. This is the P3 that I kept because my melon is huge. Really nice ballistic helmet, actually. And then we've got my ACH. That was the one I had, and you should check out the story on that one on the video that I made to find out more. It's the one I had with the cover and everything, so I threw that on there. And then I've got a Russian SSH 68N that I got from Devin K a while back, and it's pretty cool. I'll make a video on this. So this is mid-2000s. I think they started doing that, so that's why I didn't really know where to put it, so I just threw it after the ACH and before the Mark 7, which is 2009. And then we've got the ECH made by Ceradyne. This is an experimental one. It's got the original shock level thing, that the sensor or whatever in there, so I couldn't bring myself to actually shoot that one. So that's in the collection. And then the one that I got for kind of my personal shit at the fan helmet, and threw a Rhino mount on there, or not a Rhino mount, but a Nods mount. And then yeah, I've got all the pads and stuff in there. This one is also made by Ceradyne. It's a pretty early one. Pretty sweet helmet. So you got the oldest helmet up there, or actually no, I'm sorry, the oldest helmet's up here, right? And then you get the newest one right down here. So that's 100 and we'll say 101, 102, maybe 103 years difference, from going from literally a tin hat like this to something that can stop a 7.62 by 51 at 100 yards. So anyway, here's kind of what it looks like. You've seen it in the background of my videos. I'm trying to keep it somewhat organized, but every time I get a new helmet, I got to rearrange everything. I got to get more of those little stands made, those little pipe things. But I ran out of the little base plate things like this. So I don't know, I'll probably have to get more of those, but they're pretty expensive. They add up quick. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get more of them so I can stagger more of them and fit more of them, because yeah, that right there is not really that efficient. So sorry about the focus. I don't know what the hell's wrong with this thing. Anyway, sorry the video was so long, guys, but hey, I have a lot of helmets. You guys have been asking me to do this for a long time, because I did a video before with just pictures, and I mean, it was cool and everything, but it doesn't do justice to an actual video. So this is what I got going on with helmets. Eventually, when I get the rest of the room done, my office done, I'll show you some firearm stuff. I'm gonna try to get those organized and everything. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you got a favorite one, let me know. Got any questions? Make sure you check out my other videos on these. Helmets of the World is a great series. I gotta figure out which ones I need to make videos on yet, and I'll start doing that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you consider supporting the channel on Patreon. This channel does depend on your support, and Patreon is a really good way for you to directly support the channel and the work that I do. It's used to fund stuff like that, like the pickle helmet, just props for historical videos, going out and make shooting videos, helmet ballistic tests, you name it. So consider doing that. And yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed this.